You can certainly make a very easy argument that Judaism is filled with both the literal and the interpretive. I mean, so much of it works on both literal planes and on interpretive planes, and certainly the overwhelming project of rabbinic Judaism has been the mining of the interpretive, raising it to such a degree that we no longer perhaps see it as interpretive, that even the interpretive on some level we perceive as the literal. But it should not be lost to us, and it's interesting to note that the middle word of the Torah text, at the very middle word of the biblical text, that the rabbis located as being the word darosh darash, which means to interpret. And that, once again, that the body of work that Rabbinic Judaism looks to do is to create an interpretive cycle. There might be no practice more interpretive. And in the actual Hebrew words, it's called pshat and drash, the literal and the interpretive. There might be no observance that more screams to be interpretive of the metaphor than what we had in our hands this morning. The lulav and etrog, known in English as the four species, in Hebrew also as the arba minim, the four species. And so I wanted to take just a few moments of the morning to perhaps unlock a little bit of the interpretive ideas surrounding the lulav and the etrog. Now, in the most classic rabbinic interpretation, that the lulav and etrog, these four species, represent four kinds of people. To understand this metaphor, we have two keys. There's a key of food and a key of fragrance. Food, fragrance. Say it with me. Food, fragrance. The podcasters will be very impressed by that. So we have food and fragrance. Food represents what they understand to be people who have acquired wisdom and knowledge, because it's internalized. Fragrance are the things that you smell, which they liken, interpretively, of being good deeds. That when you're kind and you're good, it releases a beautiful kind of air and atmosphere around us. Looking at the four species, we see that they contain either one or both of these things. On one hand, you have the myrtle, which has beautiful fragrance, but it has no food. You can't eat it. You can smell it, but you can't eat it. The willow has neither fragrance nor food. You can't eat it. The lulav, the palm branch, has no fragrance, but of a certain era, and all the one of the wonderful additions to all salads was heart of palm. Right? They don't do it so much in salads anymore, but it was a thing one time where people would put hearts of palms in salads. And then, of course, the lulav and the etrog has both fragrance, it is very aromatic, and it has food. It's a fruit. And each of these represent different kinds of people. Those who have good deeds but no knowledge, those who have knowledge but no good deeds, those who have neither. None of those people are here today, by the way. And those who have both. And what do? Framingly so, we put them all together and we wave them in every direction of all four directions, up, down, east, south, northwest, and it is representative that us as a people, all of us stand together. It's a nice metaphor. The other metaphor is, and I really like this one, it's an agricultural metaphor, that each of these four species represent the four temperate zones of the land of Israel, and that the major kinds of produce that come from these areas, given that this is the Great Harvest Festival, pulling all of these metaphors of the different harvest areas of the land itself, pulling them together, waving them in four directions, which represent the omnipotence of the divine, of God, as if to say, rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Okay. But there's an odd kind of idea surrounding the four species, and in particular, the one that has both fragrance and fruit. It's the etrog. There's a rabbinic legend that says that the fruit of the tree of knowledge that Eve and the snake had eaten along with Adam was not a fig, nor was it an apple. The apple, of course, is the most classic rendition by Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel. There's a rabbinic interpretation that holds that it was a fig, hence that Adam and Eve had clothed themselves with fig leaves afterwards. But there's a long-standing rabbinic tradition that also points out that the etrog was in fact the fruit that Eve had eaten. And there's an odd kind of medieval, amongst Ashkenazic and also Sephardic Jews, there was an odd behavior that women who were pregnant would eat at the end of Sukkot. They would cut up and eat pieces of the etrog. They either ate pieces of the etrog, they would circulate it in the community amongst all the pregnant women. Why would they do that? Well, first of all, in Europe particularly, it wasn't like there were a lot of citron trees in Poland at that time. So how did people in Poland get an etrog? What they did is that they had a communal fund. They would buy 1, 2, or 3. Everyone owned it as a result, and everyone shared it. And at the end of the holiday, the gabbai, where's Jeff? Well, the gabbai, he's not here, but someone like Jeff would cut it into pieces, hand it out, there he is, hand it out to all the pregnant women, or they would make a jelly out of it, and they would distribute it amongst all the pregnant women. And why would they give it to the pregnant women? They would give it because, if we well remember from the beginning of the book of Genesis, that the curse given to Eve after eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge was harba arbe itzbonaich, that God will multiply her pains in childbirth. And it was considered, the rabbinic language is a sigula. It was almost like an icon that would in fact undo that curse. By consuming it, the woman was saying, and there's actually a beautiful text that says, the woman was saying, by taking hold of the etrog and eating it, that if I had been there and not Eve, that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have eaten it. This is an idea of homeopathy. Do we know what homeopathy is? Homeopathy is the idea that like cures like. Now, this idea of like cures like is well woven into the biblical narrative, into the biblical story. While I cannot vouch for the homeopathic qualities of the etrog, of the citron, of alleviating the childbirth pains of women, I can make something suggestive about the emotional homeopathic benefits of it. The Enlightenment era philosopher David Hume had many beautiful insights, but this one always stuck with me. Hume said that if you have a difficult emotion that you're carrying, how do you rid yourself of it? And he said, think of the comparable emotion in yourself. By way of example, if you're feeling angry at somebody, Hume would say, think about the times that you made other people, that other people became angry at you because something that you did. If you're feeling frustrated in the world with a person, think about the times that you frustrated other people. If you're feeling lonely and as a result, you're feeling sad and alienated, Hume would say, think about all the times that you made other people feel lonely. The times that you knew someone didn't have a family or a friend you didn't call, or you knew that a friend was going through a bad situation and you didn't meet them for dinner, or you had dinner plans and you came home from work and you said, I am too tired to sit at a dinner and talk to this person, so you canceled the dinner appointment. Like cures like. When we think about our effect in the world, how we've done similar things to other people, so too when we're feeling those emotions, it should balance them out. I'm angry at so-and-so for doing this to me. Yeah, but remember the time that I did such and such to the other person, I made them angry. Okay. It balances us out. This idea of this homeopathic balance on our emotional nature is, I think, seen in the third, not the final, but the third interpretation surrounding the four species. There is another interpretation that says that the four species represents the human body. That, if you look carefully at the items, you'll see that the myrtle looks very, very much like human eyes. And that the hadass, the willow, looks like human lips. And that the lulav certainly looks like a human spine. And the etrog looks like the heart. By taking the lulav into our hands along with the other things, but particularly the lulav, we are asking ourselves to bring heart into the world. Now today is October the 7th. I am not going to be talking about of what occurred on October the 7th, 2,000 years ago, because a part of me, because I'm a rabbi, the English state is not relevant to me. The Hebrew, the day that this occurred, as we all remember, was Shmini Atzeret. And there will be time to talk about this. And I know that one of the ways that we have dealt with the horrible events of October the 7th has been through ammunition and weapons and brilliance and strategy and tactics. But at the same time, we need to not leave our hearts behind. Heart, always heart. Feeling and care. Chag Sameach, everyone.